Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josey. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of Badassery herself, the real Jen Josey. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josey, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's Badassery Bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is staying motivated when results are slow. So let's be real. Sometimes in real estate investing and life, you put in the work, but the wins don't show up as fast as you want. Slow progress can mess with your mindset and make you question if it's all worth it. But here's the deal. Every badass investor faces this struggle, and what sets you apart is how you push through. Here is how to keep your fire burning when results are slow. Number 1, celebrate small wins. Don't wait for the big payday to pat yourself on the back. Every offer made, every lesson learned, or every connection built is a step forward, so acknowledge it. Number 2, reconnect with your why. Remind yourself why you started this journey, whether it's financial freedom, family, or proving you can do hard things. Keep your purpose front and center. Number 3, focus on consistent action. Progress is built on habits, not heroics. Commit to daily or weekly actions, no matter how small, that move you closer to your goals. Number 4, surround yourself with encouragement. Plug into your mastermind, listen to inspiring podcasts, or share your journey with supportive people who will lift you up when you need it most. And number 5, track your progress. Keep a journal or spreadsheet of your actions and milestones. When you see how far you've come, it's easier to trust that the results will follow. So, RAIN Nation, remember, slow results aren't a sign to quit. They're proof that you're in the game for the long haul. Stay patient, stay persistent, and keep leveling up your badassery. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. Today's guest is Tim Street, a Marine veteran, real estate entrepreneur, and former top producing agent who's on a mission to change how people sell their homes. Tim has seen firsthand how homeowners and investors can lose up to $30,000 in commissions on every deal, and he decided enough was enough. That's why he created Foolproof FSBO, a system designed to empower everyday people with the same tools and strategies that top agents use, so they can sell with confidence, keep more of their hard-earned equity, and avoid those unnecessary costs. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out, Tim's insights will help you sell faster, safer, and smarter. It's my pleasure to have him on the show, so welcome, Tim Street. Woohoo! Welcome.
Jen, thank you so much for having me. Thanks to the audience for putting up with me. This is really cool. I'm having a ball already, and we haven't even started. This is great.
Well, absolutely. And first of all, thank you for your service for our country. Truly appreciate it. So thank you for that. But let's dive in. Tim, I'm going to be honest. I have a property sitting on the market right now. So you are going to tell me how I'm going to sell this quicker. By the end of this podcast, I want 3 offers in my hand. Okay. Can you promise me that?
I mean, I can't promise that, but yes, here's what I will promise you. I will tell you exactly what worked for me. And you seem much prettier, smarter, all around better than me. So if I could do it, I think you could do it. Okay, Jen, we're going to start with that.
Perfect. I love it. All right. So how did you get involved with real estate? Let's just start there.
Sure. So it's interesting. I actually I'm a failed for sale by owner. I tried back in, it was almost 10 years ago now. I was going through a divorce. Everything, like life pretty much sucked at that point. And I was just like, I need to squeeze every ounce of equity out of this house because, we're basically cutting it in half. And long story short, I failed tremendously. Thank God, too, by the way, because I still own that house and it's an incredible Airbnb. But we'll get to that another way.
Nice.
Yeah. But yes, I ended up getting into the idea of wanting to own apartment buildings. I thought, oh, I hear everybody wants to invest in multifamily. It's a great idea. I found a group that did that. I got involved on a small JV, did that, and it was cool. But what was funny is I had already had that one Airbnb running, and the margins on that short-term rental, yes, of course, it was higher touch, but it was insane. And so when I'm looking at cash on cash return, I'm like, if I can liquidate out of this apartment building and get into single families and put them on the short term, I would do a lot better. So that's ultimately what I ended up doing. So now I have a small portfolio of 3 little short-term rentals right here in Merritt Island, and I love them. But I got into it because when I left the apartment building, I tried to do the traditional route, find an agent, have them show me houses. And I was doing all the work. I was pouring through all of the, not just the obvious sources like online and Zillow, but I was going into, some tax and county records too. I was really doing some hard work to try to find a diamond in the rough. And after the third real estate agent screwed up the deal by not knowing how to negotiate, or they weren't presenting my offer in the right way, I said, I can't stand these people so much that I'm going to become one of them. So and of course, I've come to learn now, being in the industry, some of my best friends are incredible real estate agents. My wife is one of the best real estate agents I've ever known in my life, ethical and beautiful. But the thing is I just had a run of bad luck. But even without that run of bad luck, I will say that I think a big life hack for me, being able to acquire my properties as easily and inexpensively as I did, was because I was acting as my own buyer's agent. And that really did help a lot. So that's ultimately how I became a real estate agent.
My goodness. And, there are lots of listeners that have their real estate license who are thinking, what are you talking about? And by the way, what does FSBO mean? Just let's break it all down for the listeners. What does FSBO stand for?
Great call. So FSBO means for sale by owner, and all the licensed agents like me in the audience are going to like what I say next. And this is going to shock some people. About 90% of for sale by owners out there fail.
Yes.
And it gets worse. The ones who quote unquote succeed sell for about 11% less than their agent represented brethren. So now the other half of the audience is saying, what the hell is this guy talking about? Why would he ever tell somebody to sell FSBO? And we'll get into that because there are a lot of great reasons. And there's a lot of reasons why that failure rate is so high. I mean, if you hand a kid keys to a car without sending them through driver's ed, I bet the accident rate would be a lot higher than it is, but we can definitely get to that.
All right. So first part of the interview here, I want to talk about the investor's edge. So why is this so important to protect this equity? And why do you think so many investors end up losing money from these bad exits?
Oh, gosh. So looking at my own track record, I could give you a lot of reasons why things go south. So let's talk about number one, why it's so important that we retain all of our equity. So it seems self-evident, right? Of course, most people would say, well, would you want to make more money or less money at the end of a transaction? Most people will say, of course, more money. But here's why that's especially important to real estate investors like myself, is because we understand leverage. And I understand that a dollar saved could be 10, 20, 100, maybe $1,000 applied to the next deal. Okay. So for every amount, every penny that I'm able to keep, every dollar that I'm able to save and accrue to my pocket instead of it going out into leakage, that's wonderful because that grows exponentially into leverage for my next deal.
Right.
So I would almost argue it's more important for people like me or for all real estate investors to carry about that stuff, because most mom and pop home sellers who are my parents who are downsizing because now they're empty nesters, or maybe it's my sister who they need to sell, but they're going to upgrade because they're having another child. Things, those people, of course, want to retain money, but they don't think about leverage like we do. And so, like, to me, the argument becomes a whole order of magnitude bigger when we understand what does that mean, that, hey, I could save $30,000 next time I sell my house. Holy smokes. That is an entire new property I could get into with that as a down. So that's kind of why I'm so bullish on investors really understanding the true costs of every dollar that comes out goes out of the with the window. Boy, easy for me to say. A bad day to quit drinking coffee. But it's like that movie Airplane.
Listeners, right before we hit record, he's like, I just quit drinking coffee 2 days ago. I'm like, how are you alive? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I can see the Samsonite underneath my eyeballs here, and I have a massive cup of coffee. I'm sorry. Keep going, Tim.
That's funny. No, so anyway, I ended up, putting together a list of, things that I was losing on every time I sold with the traditional route. And here's again, for the investors out there, I think they're going to like this because they're approaching this with a P&L mindset. Okay. They're going to have a balance sheet that they're going to have to net out at the end of the day. So some of the things that regular homeowners might not think about are things like carrying costs. So, well, what does it mean if I have the ability to sell my home faster versus an agent taking 90, 120 days to sell it for me? What does it mean if I can price my home in a way that causes buyers to overpay for it with excitement because there's scarcity and there's urgency involved in this pricing? And what does that mean now? Well, that means you could take that equity out of that house and put it into the next project. So that's opportunity cost. So every day that you can't do that is an opportunity cost. These are things that most people who sell homes don't think about. And they're very real in 4 or 5 figure costs that are absolutely eating away at your profitability. So those are a couple of the big things that people miss when they think about what it actually costs to sell. Never mind the real estate commissions. I haven't even gotten into that, but as you know, yeah, they can be extensive for, depending on the work that needs to be done. And by the way, there are times where you absolutely would be the biggest fool in the world to try to sell on your own. And we could definitely get into that, but
Yes, agreed. So, but let's kind of break this down a little bit further. Like, what are some of these common selling mistakes that will drain these returns? Just give me a couple examples of seeing that money go further and further away. I mean, I know you mentioned the holding costs, but what are some other selling mistakes?
Sure, absolutely. So not understanding the ALTA, which is basically your transactional line item sheet that you're going to see at the closing table. There's a lot of costs in there that they might be labeled weird things, title fees, miscellaneous, stuff like that. It's really important to get clarity on that. Again, it's not going to add 50 grand to your pocket, but it could be another 1,000, maybe 2. Okay. And it does add up. And then I would get into like the best way to lose money on a sale though, is what happens before you even have your first buyer interested. It's what happens during the prep, what happens during the research. So much of the genius to selling a home for above market value takes place before anybody sets eyes on your home. And if you'd like, we can talk about that now, or if you'd like to get into that later.
Let's do that. So,
okay.
Go ahead. I'm lobbing the ball to you.
So the first and most important thing is and I approach this when I was a real estate agent. I was working with my clients who were selling homes. We had to have really brave. I called it a brave conversation, and it was, I have to know that you're the type of person that would rather be disappointed with the truth than comforted with a lie. Okay, because I can't sit here and tell you all the things you want to hear, because your house is going to sit forever and it's never going to sell. So that's the first thing. And there are people out there who will say, oh yes, please tell me the truth. And then when you do, they look at you like you have horns coming out of your head. So you have to be, as a seller, you have to approach this as unemotionally as possible. Your home is no longer your home. It's not where your child took her first steps. It's not where, you spent the weekend building that deck with your brother-in-law who's no longer with us. I'm sorry, beautiful memories. Guess how much the buyers care about that? They don't give a shit, like zero. Right, exactly. Okay. So it does not matter. This house is a product, and we've been trained by Amazon for the last 10 years to do brutal comparison shopping. All we do, if I want a coffee mug, I don't care who makes it. I don't care what kind of material it is. I don't care what brand it is. I want to know what's less than $10 and can get here tomorrow. And people look at houses the same way. Yeah, it's a lovely house. I'm glad that your child took her first steps in it. But at the end of the day, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath ranch with a 2-car garage, and there's 7 more like it. And if you are pricing yours far above the market because you think this is terrible advice that I hear a lot of homeowners espouse is, well, you want to price high to negotiate down. Not anymore, buddy. 2025. Hey,
Nope.
1989 called and they want their pricing strategy back. That is so stupid. We are not doing that anymore. You're not even going to get looked at. What are you going to negotiate down against? The cat? Because that's the only thing that's going to be in your living room. You're not going to have any buyers. There's no way you're going to be able to price far above market with room to negotiate down to where you think it is. And the second ugly truth that I briefly have to have with home sellers is that I don't get to decide the price of their home. Unfortunately, they don't decide it either. Nobody decides it except the guy writing the check.
Exactly.
What that market decides your house, that's the value. So those are two of the big kind of emotional hurdles that I have to get folks over, because if you price wrong, your house it's dead in the water. It is the first and most important thing. If you get that wrong, I don't care how pretty your photos are. I don't care how many followers your real estate agent has, you're dead.
So Tim, I'm going to use a very personal example, me right here. So we just completed a new build and it's in a much higher price point than we normally do. And my husband is the GC on this project. So throwing him under the bus just a little bit here. But when he's in this project and he's doing all this, he kind of just misses some of the attention to detail. And I would go through and say, we have marks everywhere. They put an X to put a handle on this drawer. I can still see these marks. I can still see we need a little bit of touch-up paint here. The frame, there's a gap around the very cool, modern, sleek fireplace that you put in, but it takes away from it because I can see a little bit of a gap up there. And so we hired an amazing realtor because, even though my husband's also a realtor, we own a brokerage. We needed someone who is more in this higher price point, who had the connections. And he came in and just like you said, that's why I laughed, because he's like, okay, you got to do this. You got to do that. I need something around here. And, so it was very eye-opening. And I'm telling the story because of investors out there. If you are doing a project, get 2-3 other sets of eyes to walk through your property if you decide to do this as a for sale by owner, and we're going to get more into that in a minute. But there, you're just in that project so much that you just don't think about, I didn't even realize that there was marks over here still from where the handles went in, and where it's just so obvious to those buyers. So I just wanted to share that story because you are nailing it. I have been doing this for years, and I'm like, hey Vance, we got to do this, and he's oblivious to it because he's just in knee deep in it every single day. So let's kind of take it from here and continue with this conversation, because you talk about the handyman ROI rule. So you're a big advocate for whatever this handyman and ROI is, return on investment. So what does this mean? Like, what are some small fixes that now I'm going to now relook at this project, little things that I can do that outperform these big remodels when it's time to sell?
So to all of my fellow real estate agents who are listening right now, and to those at your brokerage, and to all of you who might do this on your own, I want you to, if you listen to nothing else, I want you to hear this. One of the greatest things I've ever found to get buyers to pay above asking is by positioning the home in a way that was based on pure, almost like a radical honesty. So what I would do, and this is what all the people who had success as my clients will do, a pre-listing inspection. They'll hire a building inspector, because like Jen says, here's what happens when you live in a home. You start to just miss things.
Right.
That peeling paint that you've seen 75 times on your way to unload the car, eventually you just don't see it anymore. And that's by design, of course. The human brain has to do that. It has to diffuse minutia, or we're going to be overstimulated all day and we're going to miss the big stuff. So that fresh set of eyes is so important. And not only is it great to have a fresh set of eyes, to have a set of eyes that's paid and certified to understand truly not just the peeling paint, but are there other things that are wrong with this house? So this pre-listing inspection is a giant hack. What I do is I have the inspector come, they give us their findings, and typically it's 3 buckets, okay? The first bucket are the non-negotiables. These are code violations, safety hazards. If there's a bare wire arcing in the attic looking like 4th of July, yeah, we need to fix that. We're not pieces of trash. We're not going to sell people a house that's going to burn their family down. Okay. First things first. Second thing we do is we have another bucket. And now these buckets are nice to haves and or end of life items. So if the inspector says, hey, the water hot water heater is looking a little rusty, maybe some surface rust developing on it, or the air conditioning unit's kind of a dinosaur. It's 17 years old, but it's still putting out cool air. These are things that you as a seller are going to want to internalize and be like, okay, this will necessarily have an effect on price if and when we get to the due diligence point. So you put that in your mind and you address that up front. The third thing, and this is the best, the handyman bucket. He's going to give you a whole list of things that can be done at the handyman level. You're not hiring contractors, you're not pulling permits, all this stuff is handyman stuff. It's touching up the paint, it's tightening up the cabinet handles, it's fixing that squeaky door. All of that stuff, hire that handyman. It's going to be the best return on investment, because what happens now, and I'll skip to the Jedi part. The Jedi part is when you have people wanting to come look at your house. Now, put yourself in the shoes of a buyer. They've looked at 7 houses today. They walk in, it's some used car, no offense to used car salesman, but you earned this reputation. It's some used car salesman. It's the only people that real estate agents could look down on. It's this used car salesman, and he's sitting there and he's telling you this house is perfect. There's never been anything wrong with it. You're not going to find a thing wrong. And then meanwhile, 3 months later, the basement's flooded, or the septic tank is crapped out on you. So people are so jaded to this idea that a house is perfect. So when you greet these people and you establish a relationship, hi, Jen, so glad you're here. My name's Tim. Please make yourself at home. Listen, I made this for you because I'm a firm believer in just shooting straight. And I want you to know exactly what you're beginning into. This house is not perfect. It's 70 years old. There's been repairs through the years. I did take the liberty of having an inspection done. Here's the results of the report. Now, by the way, that building inspector, they will come back and re-inspect to see the items you knocked off the punch list. I recommend giving them that second inspection report, not the first one.
Good.
But you give them the second one, which is still going to have problems on it. But here's why that's a good thing. That's a good thing because that radical honesty is something they've experienced with no other seller. And now that radical honesty also psychologically positions you as an authority, and it gives you such a stronger negotiating standpoint. So now you're giving these people an amazing footprint to start from. They're looking through the home and yeah, they see, wow, the hot water heater is old, but oh, look, it says they took that into consideration with coming up with the fair market value. Oh, look at the roof is at the end of life, but they said they would entertain seller credits or something to that effect. So by putting that step forward right there, now, I'm not telling these people that they shouldn't also get their own inspection. Of course you should get their own inspection. And I'm not telling you sellers, hey, tell them they don't need an inspection. Now, please don't. You're going to undo all that beautiful honesty you started off with. Have them get their own inspection. But just know that by doing what you've done, you've not only elevated the perceived value of the house, you've elevated the perceived value of you as a human. And that's going to accrue to your benefit in any transaction.
Jedi for sure. That was such a great nugget, Tim. Thank you for that. Oh my goodness. Sure. All right. Note to self, call inspector. Okay. All right. So now I want to get into pricing like a pro. So yes. Especially in this market where things are so volatile right now, what is your framework for pricing a property the way these top agents do?
So the first thing you have to do is, as I said, be very realistic about the pricing. And remember, if you find yourself saying, well, I need to clear, or I sure would like to get, you're already going down the wrong path. Okay.
Yes.
So the only thing we use to price a home is data. And the data is a similar home, ideally within your neighborhood, within the last 6 months. If you can't find that, spread out a little bit, but try not to, so a lot of people will say, just do a 2-mile radius. No, that's BS, because a 2-mile radius, you could be crossing railroad tracks,
yes,
or river, major geographical boundaries that completely change the nature of the home. So I've found is to be a little bit more scientific than that. Sure. I mean, I guess within 2 miles is fine, but try to more focus on the boundary of the subdivision, yes, or the metro that you're in. If you have to cross any major highways, any land features, it's not going to be very accurate.
Correct.
And that's the other thing I want to leave people with here as well, is when I say scientific, it does not mean to say it's 100% accurate every time. Science is art, or I'm sorry, pricing is art and science. And the art of it is understanding what a like for like home is. if there's a two bathroom, 3 bedroom house right next door to you, built the same year, same time, and they just spent $300,000 on a remodel, and yours hasn't been touched since 1968 when it was first built, obviously there's a qualitative difference there. Correct.
Yes.
Okay, we can all agree on that. So, but a lot of folks lose that. A lot of people kind of don't. They don't take that into account. So, one of the best life hacks that you can do when you're setting up pricing for your house is go put on your buyer shoes and go tour houses that you're going to be competing with in the market. If I know that these 3 houses are going to be like, if they're my comps that are pending or active right now, I'm going to go look at those houses personally. I'm going to walk through them. I'm going to say, wow, this one smells like cat pee. Are you kidding me? They're asking how much? And then I'm going to walk through the next one and say, okay, I could totally see where they're coming from here. And then by doing that, you're now, again, it's the strategic empathy that you're getting with your buyers. You're going to know how also your buyers feel, because they're going to go to the cat pee house also. They're going to go to the nice house also. So you want to be able to accurately position yourself against them. So pricing is it's basically an average. It's so simple. People are like always like clowning me when I say this. Like, it's so much more than that. Like, not really. You're going to take what the average home sold for in your area. You can apply if you're in a hot market or a slow market, and you can calculate that with absorption rates. And I'm not going to get into that here, but you can find that information on Google. You can see if you're in a climbing market or declining market. You can apply some sort of a price difference to what that mathematical result is. But at the end of the day, here's what I'm here to tell you. What you come out with on the price is super important, but it's not the whole story, because what matters is how does the market respond? Okay. And now this is the real magic right here. And this is what they will not teach you. If you put your price, let's just pretend we figured out our home is worth 500K. We just know it. It absolutely is. We had 6 houses around us in the last month, all sold for exactly 500K. This is a fake scenario, but let's just go with it.
Okay.
Because I'm a Marine and I need easy math. So we put our home on the market at 500K and we get crickets. I mean, there's no showing requests, nothing. We know, I'm telling you right now, you're off by 10%. Somehow, some way, you miscalculated by about 10%. Now, if you get a good deal of showings, a couple questions, but nobody makes an offer, I would say you're off in the neighborhood of about 5%. Okay. So use these as general guardrails. What I'm telling you is, don't decide that the math told you what the price is and you're going to stick with it. If you're serious about selling, what you have to do is rely on what the market is telling you. Now, here's the best news. Let's pretend you priced your house at 500, but it was really worth 520. Okay. Well, now everybody's mad at Tim. Damn it, Tim, you told me to price at 500 and I could have got 520 for it. Why'd I even listen to you? That's not how the real world works. In a real world where you have a market of competitive buyers all chasing scarce assets, you are always going to have that house, that asset bid up to its market value. And if you do it the right way, you can have it bid up beyond its market value. And that's when you start getting buyers bidding on emotion. But to allay everybody's fears, if your house is truly worth 520, that's what it will get bid up to. If you just feel it's worth 520 and someone offers you 500, I've got news for you. Your house is worth 500. Yep. And that's the end of the sermon right there, man.
So good. And I keep going back to this project that we have listed right now, and everything, and we are below where we're supposed to be. And, it is still slow, but all of the houses in that price point in this area, there are no showings going on. So do you have any suggestions for that? I mean, it's a $1.5 million house. So it's in that price point where you have to have that very specific buyer, and the other ones around there are sitting just as long and they don't have the showings as well. So we are priced below them.
Yeah. Well, so you've done the right thing. So the first painful thing I can tell you is to go even a little bit lower, but you don't want to go into a territory where
we're getting ready to. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't want, but I'm not saying list it for 500 because everybody's like, okay, what was there, a fire? Was somebody murdered in the bathroom? So must have been a really bad Thanksgiving, I guess. They shouldn't talk politics at the table. I told them. So yeah, you gotta be cognizant of, you don't want to have a stigma attached to it, but yes, indeed. Price is the biggest lever. Now, if you've exhausted your pricing avenue and you just simply have nothing left in the kitty to go any lower. One of the things I love to do is to throw it's a mega open house, but it's a little bit different than probably what you've heard. I'm not doing circus balloons and clowns and bounce houses in the back. I mean mega in the sense of it's going to be hyper targeted around the neighborhood. I will call every neighbor in that neighborhood, and I will let them know, hey, Jen, my name's Tim Street. We might have met before, but I live over on Tropical Trail, and I'm listing my home for sale. And here's the thing, I'm not great at design, and I'm kind of not really good at sales. I'm wondering if you might be able to come over and give me your opinion on the house. I'm having all the neighbors over Friday night from 7 to 9. I'm going to have some wine, some hors d'oeuvres, and we're just going to hang out. And it'll be kind of a combination going away party for me. And, it'd just be nice to see you all. But most importantly, I really want to get your advice on the house. So do you really want their advice on the house? Absolutely not. No. Welcome to Sales 101. What you've just done is you've put them on a pedestal. And a lot of times when you tell somebody what they are, they want to identify with that. So now they're identifying themselves as, number one, an expert on style, but also an authority on that house. So now they have a vested interest in seeing that house get sold. You've enlisted them into your seller's army, and now they're one saying, hey, cousin Bobby, you remember you always wanted to live next to me. Turns out there's this badass house down the street that's going up for sale. I know it's badass because I hung out with the neighbor last night. She was super cool. She got me drunk. I mean, whatever. And so like now you have these raving fans talking about your house. That's a huge way to go. And then so that neighbor invite only open house, it's very exclusive. Make it nice, spend some money on it. And then the next 2 days, I would just have 2-hour Saturday and Sunday open houses for the general public. And I would tell all those people that night, hey, will you please tell everybody who might be interested, I'm doing an open house this weekend from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And here's why I say 2 hours. A lot of people think that's restrictive. And of course, to me, that's by design. Of course it's restrictive. I want it to be bedlam in there. I want it to be a freaking circus in the driveway. I want people to be fighting over parking. I want them to be squeezing into the bathroom past each other to see it. Because here's why. When you want to, you can have a toy that's been sitting in a closet for 6 months untouched. You give it to one toddler, the other toddler immediately wants it. Guess what? We are all immature toddlers at heart. We have not outgrown that. And I've got this consumer psychology studies to prove it. So all of these interested parties become that much more interested when they see the social proof of 5 other couples going through there saying things like, oh, this would be a good bathroom. Oh, I could definitely see us here for Thanksgiving. Oh my God, could you imagine the Christmas tree going right there? I did this with one of my clients when I was representing them as their listing agent. And I just happened to look out to my left, and I looked in her car, and she was in there with her agent writing an offer to purchase on the steering wheel because she saw 3 other couples basically say that they were going to submit an offer that day. So this works.
Jedi tip again. And you know what, Tim, I have heard this a handful of times of, this strategy. And when you are knee deep in it, it just takes a Tim Street to come into your life to remind you to do something like this. So you are giving me some great tools for my tool belt here. So I want to wrap up this first part of the podcast here with, this is the biggies. So this is for the listeners. So FSBO versus agent. So how do investors really choose the right strategy? When should they bring in an agent? When should they go for it and try to sell it on their own? Because you did start this conversation talking about how most for sale by owners, 90% of them fail. So I want you to really break it down. When is it great to choose an agent? When should you try to sell it on your own?
So that all leads back to me wanting to disappoint you with the truth. So I'm not going to tell you it's all sunshine and rainbows. It takes work. And I must admit too, after I got my license and I started representing sellers, I didn't realize how much work went into it. I kind of thought I was just an investor. I thought, oh my God, these real estate agents, they're a bunch of overpaid door openers. That's all they are. And then I had my ass handed to me by life when I realized how wrong I was. I thought I was in for an easy gig. That is a tough job. And it's relatively thankless too, because like some of the best people I've ever met are real estate agents, and they get just crapped on a lot. And of course I do that myself because I kind of feel like I am one of them, so I can crap on us. I don't know, maybe it's wrong for me to do that, but I do love to be a little bit self-deprecating. But at the end of the day, there are certain personalities that are great for sale by owner and certain ones that aren't. I have a 2-minute quiz that I'll share with you on my website that it'll basically tell you, listen, this is a good idea for you or it's not, but I'll give you the high level overview of it. if you are somebody who enjoys DIY projects, and I know a lot of us investors are, I know a lot of investors who put their own sweat equity into a project. I know, that's why it kind of blows my mind. I'm like, wait a second, dude, you just put in this ornate, beautiful tile work in the bathroom, and you're going to pay somebody to do project management for you as a real estate agent? That's crazy to me. So like, I have a soft spot in my heart for investors, because I'm like, man, you guys do so much. You work so hard to make these properties profitable. And then like, you just give up so much at the end, and you don't even know that you have an option. And that's the biggest problem, Jen, is so many people, their default responses when they have to sell a house is like, okay, what agent do I work with? Because they don't even know. Right. We've done such a good job as an industry that the NAR, I mean, spending billions of dollars every year, and they've done a great job at convincing all of us that selling your home is legally dangerous. It's impossible to do. And because of the statistics out there, they're kind of right. I mean, that's a hard part. So that's where I come in and I say, well, hold on, that's not the whole story, and we're going to fix that. So if you are somebody who likes DIY, you have you're a retired couple, or you're a young couple who doesn't mind sweat equity projects, this is great for you. If your home is not, if you're in the middle of a divorce, if it's an estate, or there's a judgment against that, pay that poor real estate agent their commission and laugh your ass off when you do it, because they are going to go through legal hell for you.
Yes.
Do never, never, never try to DIY legal stuff, ever. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many episodes of Law and Order you've watched. It's going to end badly. And I'm telling you, do not do this. So, but for the people out there, like I had a guy who rebuilds transmissions in his garage just for funsies. He's just a nutcase. And like, he hired me to be his agent. I'm like, bro, do you realize how much smarter you are than me? Do you understand that you could be doing all this on your own? And he's like, I just kind of always been told it's not the thing that we should do ourselves. I'm like, okay. And that's kind of like enough of those experiences where I'm like, okay, this is a teachable process. Because by the way, I'm not like a Rhodes Scholar. I'm not in Mensa, despite what people must think of me. Of course, Jen, they must think I'm like a modern day Einstein. Yeah, no,
I'm still on the word funsies.
Yeah, I know, dude. You can tell I got 4 little girls. Freaking idiot. I'm ridiculous.
I want you to break this down though. So let's just say I'm in the 10% who will kick ass at this. What are the steps to sell a property by owner?
So I would say, by the way, the 10%, I would say there's probably a good half of you folks out there that could kick ass at this, number one. And so the first step is you need to get educated. So I give all my stuff away for free. It's on my YouTube. It's on my Instagram. Go binge watch it. And
what is it called?
Oh, so it's Foolproof FSBO. So if you go to Foolproof FSBO, or I'm sorry, youtube.com/ @Foolproof FSBO, or Instagram / Foolproof FSBO. And actually, for your listeners here today, if you go to foolprooffsbo.com / investor, I've made an ebook available for them, Jen,
nice.
that they could have. Yeah. And this will get you started. Now, for those folks who kind of need a lot more time compression and they need a step-by-step process, I do have a blueprint for sale for $397, and it takes you through step-by-step. It's live coaching. If you have questions, you call me. But honestly, especially for you investors out there, you could probably just learn everything I teach you for free off my socials. I mean, legit, I don't want you to spend another penny that you don't have to.
Right.
So yeah, that's how people should get started is take the quiz, find out if this is good for you. And by the way, and this will be something that I think you and I should probably talk about offline, because I'm always looking for new real estate agent partners. When I do have a scenario where somebody takes a quiz and they decide that this is not for me, at my expense, what I do is I call a top producing agent in their area, and I will call and pre-negotiate a reduced rate for them as one of my students. And so whether you use my program or not, whether you succeed or not, you're still going to save thousands and thousands of dollars by going through my product. So
nice.
I hope that helps.
Very good. All right. So what are some things that it's not just sticking a sign in the yard? Give us some quick basic steps.
So yeah, gosh, the signs. Boy, so first things first, if you are selling on your own, one of the things I do love is a real estate sign with a QR code on it that doesn't go to Zillow. Never send anybody to Zillow. What Zillow does is they will take that lead and they will encourage that person to call a real estate agent to then call you. So the brass ring for sale by owner is to find an unrepresented buyer. because now there's no buyer commissions, there's no seller commissions. All of that is pure margin to your bottom line. So the last thing you want to do is, and Zillow gets paid though by finding buyer agents. So the best thing in the world for you to do is to have a QR code direct to your dedicated website. Again, I provide those for free for my people.
Nice.
So yeah, you'll get a single property website. It would be foolproofisbo.com/123 Main Street. That's your URL. Yours only. And so now when people go to that website, they can book a showing, they can see all their photos, they can read the descriptions, all of that good stuff. So signs are important. Next thing, do not sleep on Facebook Marketplace. Do not sleep on neighborhood or neighborhood.com. All of those websites. Yes, Craigslist is huge.
Yes.
So, I mean, these things are not traditional, and that's why they work. It's because you're kind of standing out from all of the noise, and you're kind of giving a different experience from the first moment they see you. When you write your listing descriptions, for the love of Pete, please don't write like a robot. Don't say 2 bedroom, 3 bath, 1 car garage. I mean, my Lord.
Can I add, stop using the effing word boasts. I can't stand the word boast. It boasts anyway, keep going.
So one of the things I did, again, 100% your audience will have access to this. I wrote a custom AI GPT that actually, I basically resurrected the ghost of Ernest Hemingway, and it writes the most gorgeous. So there's an old saying, it's that facts tell, but stories sell. So what you want to do is you want to tell a story about this house. If you lead off with 3 bedroom, 2 bath, they've already listen, we have attention spans of gnats these days. Okay.
Yes.
Like we're scrolling constantly. To stop the scroll, you have to do something different. It has to be better. It has to be beautiful. So a beautiful listing description. So what if you stumbled across a home and the first thing in the listing description is, I don't know, something like, imagine sipping coffee as the sun streams in through the floor to ceiling porch windows, and you see the automatic sprinkler system kick off outside while the kids walk to school. That's incredible. Like, I want to live there, and I've already loved my house. So that is a different thing. So writing narrative-based listing descriptions is another giant hack that most people will miss. You see some agents try to do it. I know that I tried to do it as an agent and I failed miserably. So that's why I literally had to pay somebody on Fiverr to write this AI for me. So yeah, it was like $1,000. You guys get it for free. I don't care. But yeah, I just love the idea that one day we might have beautiful listing descriptions. So
absolutely. Ours really brings into focus that we have a James Beard Award winning restaurants within walking distance practically of where we are. So we painted it for the foodie and on this listing. So yeah.
Super smart. That is so good, because it's not just the house, it's where it is.
Exactly. Yes.
You have to talk about things like that. Imagine coming home at night after walking home from the art district, and you implant things like that and people can really see themselves there. The photographers, my dear Lord in heaven, please do not try to shoot photos on your iPhone. Hire a real estate photographer. They understand composition. They understand lighting. They understand, I don't care if you have 50,000 Instagram followers. They understand things about, this isn't a selfie of you holding a Mocha Choca frappa bullshit. Okay. This is a legit business photo. This is something that matters. This is important. So, make sure that what is it? $300, $500. It's going to be one of the best. Yeah. Again, we're talking about ROI here, return on investment.
I have a question about photographers. Yeah. So I see a lot of these fisheye ones where you could tell the wall is like, I'm like, why are they even doing that? And they're like paid professionals. Do not use those photographers, please. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The fisheye ones where you could tell the room kind of expands, and I'm like, that just looks like shit. I can't stand those anyway.
It does.
And then for a long time it was the Twilight photos where it's the same photo. I mean, come on, people, but they put lights in the like.
Yeah, or they'll Photoshop the sky as a sunset. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Any more nuggets here for going FSBO? So you're not just throwing a sign in the yard. You want to get professional photos. You have a great listing website. I love the fact that you're telling people not to go to Zillow, because that does start to include the agents and everything. So any other little nuggets before we go on to the next part here?
The final and probably the most important thing is don't you dare try to DIY the legal side of things. Get
Yes.
a relationship with either a real estate attorney or a title company, whatever your state prefers. Every state is different. Here in Florida, we use title companies. They are going to be your best ally. They're going to give you strategic advice. They are wonderful people. They're so underappreciated. Use a title company, because one of the biggest lawsuits in real estate court, one of the biggest reasons for lawsuits is for sale by owners being sued because of paperwork issues, most commonly disclosure issues.
Ah, very good. And by the way, and I'm in Raleigh where we use closing attorneys. So make sure you know what state uses. So one more time before we go into the second part of the podcast here, how do the listeners find you?
So go to foolprooffsbo.com/investor if you want to check out the investor side of the house. If you're just a regular Joe, like most of my friends, just go to foolprooffsbo.com/quiz. And you can take the quiz and you can find out, if your personality and your circumstances support you going FSBO. And then if you're like super psyched on this and you just want to learn more, you can book a call with me at foolprooffsbo.com/booking.
Tim Street, that is so awesome. I appreciate you doing that. And listeners,
For sure.
Hey, I am like glued to you on everything that you're saying. I'm chomping at the bit here. So you are fantastic at this. And I'm so grateful. And you've given me some great ideas. Calling an inspector as soon as this is over. So, all right. We are going to go to the second part of the podcast here, which is what makes Tim Street a badass. And I use the acronym BADASS. And the first letter is B for book. So what is a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
Atlas Shrugged.
Ah.
Yeah. Are you familiar with it at all?
No. Isn't that a
It is giant. It is ridiculous. It's a book by Ayn Rand, and it was one of the first books, and she didn't get everything right, but she grew up in the Soviet Union back in the 20s. And anyway, she grew up in a world where, basically the government decided everything for you, what you're going to do for a living, what you were allowed to do with your money, what you did with your time. And then she came to the United States and saw, life in the Western world. And so she basically wrote a book about, and the thesis of the book is, what happens when the takers in this world demand so much from the producers that the producers finally say, forget it, I'm done. And they shrug the weight of the world off their shoulders.
Ah, wow. I got to check that out. I love a big chunky book. All right. The first A in Badass is for advice. You have given me personally amazing advice, but I'm curious, as I hit my microphone, I'm curious, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
My Uncle Billy, rest his soul, wonderful man. It was a hilarious and great piece of advice. He said, "Don't Stop Believing" is a great song, but terrible life, or also good life advice. I'm sorry. Sorry, Uncle Billy. I'm going to get lightning striking me from heaven now. But yeah, don't Stop Believing. It's not only a great song, but it's also great advice. So you talked about that at the beginning of your show, when things are getting tough, when things aren't going the right way, man, you just have to have that undying belief that this is going to work. It's absolutely going to work. You're doing the fundamentals. Success comes from repetition of fundamentals, not from doing the one thing way better than everybody else. Everybody will tell you that you just got to get good at this one thing. I disagree. I think working smart is good, but working hard is super, super good also.
Thank you for saying that. And thank you, Uncle Billy. All right. The D in Badass is for drive. What drives Tim Street to be successful?
I want to live a good life. I've got 4 little girls. I've got an amazing wife. I have blessings beyond this. I can't even believe that I am where I am today. If you saw the earlier, my life growing up in Detroit, I went in the Marines out of college. I lost 6 of my buddies in the Marines. And what I believe is, I think one day I'm going to see them again. And, not only do I hold myself accountable to God and my family and all of these things, but I know that those 6 guys every single one of them were better than me, every single one of them. And yet they're gone. So I damn well better live a life that's incredible, that is cognizant of that sacrifice, so that when I see them again one day, they're not going to be like, "Really, dude? That's what you did after we gave up everything? You sat on the couch and ate Cheetos and watched Stranger Things?" I've done that once or twice, I'll admit. But as the whole, I want them to look at me like, "Dude, you gambled it you rolled the dice every time. You gave it all you had," and that is like my core, and that's what pushes me forward every day.
Oh my goodness. I bet you're such a great one-on-one coach. Just listening to you. This is amazing. All right. The second A in Badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
So I'm writing a book. It should be. I should have it. It's in editing right now, so it should be out in the spring. And unfortunately, to 8-year-old Timmy, no, it's not about how I was an astronaut and how I got to Mars, but it's about how it is that the real estate industry has convinced all of us that we're incapable of selling on our own. And it's a bit of an expose, and it's also a bit of a how-to for those who want to go around the old system.
Very good. I have written a book. It is tough, but yeah, it is absolutely worth it. So congrats on that. That's great.
Thank you.
All right. The first S in Badass is for systems. What systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
I have a routine. So my routine is every day I'm up at 4:20 a.m. And no, that's not a joke.
I'm like, I don't.
No reason I picked that. I know.
I'm like, is it 4:20 yet?
All your listeners in Orlando are just like, what?
Okay, you wake up at 4:20.
So I wake up at 4:20 in the morning, by the way. I ride my bike to the gym. I go 5-mile ride to the gym, do my workout at the gym, 5 miles home, and my day is just like set from there. And like I don't get in shape. I don't get any stronger. I feel like what I'm doing is I'm just getting older more slowly. I think maybe what's interesting though is I find that I've now, like by 9 a.m., I've gotten more done in my day than most of these schlubs are going to do all day. And I kill it till 9 at night. Like I work till 9 at night continually. And it's not like out of some workaholism kind of thing. I literally just have a passion for this stuff. And I truly enjoy what I'm doing. So I'm putting in massive work. And I think that's part of the reason why I've been able to keep this drive up, is because there's so much reward for it.
That morning routine system is so important because we just got a puppy. Well, he's 8 months old. He's 8 months old today. And it's a golden retriever. I've never had a fancy like dog like that before. Usually we get the mixed breeds, but his name is Gary. Gary has screwed up my morning routine. And it is like, it's so important to have these systems in place. And now I'm starting to get back into it and everything. And I'm feeling more human again. But yes, just starting your day like that, absolutely. And I'm still going to hold you to the 4:20. All right. So
there's such a, by the way, let me just say, having a dog named after human is my favorite thing. I named my dog Maggie. Like I have a golden doodle. I love human dog names. They're so cool.
Well, we have Kevin as well. And Miss
That's
Mabel.
Awesome.
Miss Mabel is sassy. And then now we have Gary. So
that is so great.
He's
love
a
that.
hot mess. All right. Tim, I could talk to you all day, but the final S in Badass is for success. What does success mean to you?
Meeting my maker with a smile on my face, not wondering, hey, what did I do wrong? What did I do different? God, I wish I would have fixed that. I've led such a imperfect life, and only, with 48 years of hindsight looking back on it, can I see what it brought me to today. There's an old song, God Bless a Broken Road That Led Me Here to You, and it's a corny song, but there's a lot of wisdom in that. Like, we are the product of our traumas. We're the product of our success. We are the product of everything we've gone through. And so for me to look back on anything with guilt or remorse, it's the wrong attitude. I look back at all the mistakes I made, and I've made more than probably 99% of the people on this show, whether it's ethical mistakes, whether it's moral mistakes, whether it's business mistakes, whether it's just being, intelligent, whatever. I've made so many mistakes, but thank God I did. And this beautiful, incredible, blessed life that I have is just, it's so amazing that, I want to continue in that fashion. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing today. I found myself, in the lure of trying to become an incredible and always trying to do better as a listing agent. I find myself tempted, like, well, maybe I should be as honest with these people up front. Maybe I should disappoint them with an occasional lie. And it was a really disgusting feeling I felt inside. I was like, how dare I, with all these blessings I have, squander all that for another commission check? So that's why I was like, I can't be trusted with this kind of power. I threw the ring into the volcano in Mordor, and now I'm just giving everything I know away for free.
Oh my goodness. I need to hang out with you at some point. Next time I'm down passing through Florida, I got to stop by. You are so much fun. I have really enjoyed this interview, and I thank you so very much for being here today. Tim, thank you so much.
It is my honor. Thank you. And thank you to listeners. I appreciate you all very much. Thanks.
Absolutely. And that is all. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josey by visiting therealjenjosey.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.